Hi guys, I'm Kiri, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna talk about Ford Capri, or by the many described as the European Mustang. And this is not just a coincidence. Actually, the man who designed the Capri, Philip Clark, was involved with the Mustang design as well. Ford took this decision because the original 1964 Mustang became very popular in US and beat any record for fast-selling cars. So they did the same in Europe with the few years later Ford Capri. The production of the Capri began in 1968 and like the big brother Mustang became the best-selling sports car in Europe and stays in production until 1986, 18 years in production. But of course during this time the car being updated. So there are three different variants from Mark I to Mark III, but all they keep the lines of the original 1968 Capri. In total, 1.9 million cars went into new happy owners, which makes it one of the most successful Ford model ever. The car used the mechanical components from another very popular Ford, Mark II Cortina. And thanks to this, the Capri was extremely reliable sports-looking car, which builds the very good reputation to the oval badge. Three main factories in UK, Germany and Belgium were supplying the European market, but as well factories in Australia and South Africa for the other markets. The main task for Ford was the car to be affordable, and actually was, with big variety of engines from 1.3 to 3.1 liters and some very small number different sizes. So was car for everyone with basic very cheap 1.3 liter variant, but 1.3 was in two versions, inline 4-cylinder or V4 cylinder, depending for the market, then 1.5 liter V4, 1.6 liter, 1.7 V4 again, three different by configuration, 2 liter engines, inline 4-cylinder 2 liter, V4 cylinder 2 liter, and V6 2 liter engines, very cool actually, and then the V6 range from 2.3, 2.6 and 3 liters, including the 2 liters as well. Just one type of gearbox, 4-speed manual for all the engines. Now this information was for the Mark I only Capri. For the Mark II and Mark III Ford discontinued some engines in favor of others. But probably the Mark I Capri was the most wanted, most beautiful, cool and attractive. But again depending on the personal preferences as well. By the way, the car was imported in Japan as well with 1.6 and 2 liter engines. Can you imagine Ford Capri in Japan fighting with Japanese Toyotas and Nissans? Very cool actually. Mark I Capri became very successful with 400,000 cars sold just in the first 2 years, 1969 and 1970. And then 1973 was very important as well. In this year Ford sold 233,000 cars. And on the same year, they reached 1 million Capri cars being sold from the beginning of the production. The particular car in front of us is before that year. The first registered June 1972 and is a 1.6 liter version Mark I Ford Capri 1600L with 4-speed manual gearbox. Ford was using a Kent engine 4-cylinder inline or straight 1599cc, 70-75 horsepower for the L trim or 82-88-93 horsepower for the same capacity but different trims XLR or GT. The L version wasn't high performance like the many of the Capri models, but was some kind of entry level just over 1.3 and 1.5 engines. By some people, these early Ford Capris Mark I are most attractive, with very distinctive boot lid, but sporty roof line and rear glass. As well the side air scoops in front of the rear wheels, and the beautifully designed line starts from the front wing and going all the way behind the rear wheel. Of course the Mark I Capri has very beautifully made tail lights, they're smaller than the next Mark II and Mark III, and the front side of the car, the headlights, the grille are nicely made for 1960, to be honest. This was very advanced in the design aspect car. In Europe, nothing was like the Capri in its class. It's the time, 1968, when Lamborghini Spada arrived, as well Maserati Indy, Opel GT, Jaguar XJ or BMW E9 CS or CSL, but with price under 1000 British pounds, 900 and something, for 1969 this was the most affordable sports car in Europe. and as we said, with lots of different engines, was very cool car. Even was a racing car as well, with the biggest 3 liter or 3.1 liter engines. Nothing was like the Ford Capri. Very small, nimble, light, aerodynamic, was dream car for many young and not that young people. The curb weight was just under 1 ton, 975 kilograms for the 1.3 and 1.5 liter engines, but over 1100 kilograms for the biggest 3 liters V6 cars. The car is long 4 meter 280 millimeters, is wide 1 meter 646 millimeters, and is high just 1 meter 288 millimeters, with wheelbase exactly 2 meter 560 millimeters. Was considered long wheelbase, but this was the original idea of Ford, to be long bonnet car, short tail and fake air vents in the rear wings. They start to work on the car just after 1 year of the Mustang presentation. As we said, the Mustang went for sale in 1964. And the next year, 1965, Ford started to work on the European Mustang, the Ford Capri. They invested a total of 20 million British pounds in the project. And imagine what was 20 million in 1965. Crazy money, but was worthy. The first prototype was complete in 1968. The interesting fact is that Ford wanted to use in the beginning the name Colt for this new model, but this name was already taken from Mitsubishi. Even they went in court to arguing about the name. But on the end Ford lost the case, and then they changed the name to Capri, which actually on the end suits better than Colt, and even was given more exotic charm to the model. Named after the Italian I Want Capri, which by the way was very cool destination on that time. We mentioned early many mechanical components being used from Mark II Cortina, but as well the chassis. That's why the price was under 1000 British pounds, so front McPherson independent suspension with disc brakes, and on the back live axle with leaf springs and drum brakes. Old technology but proved and very reliable. Also the engines and the bulletproof 4-speed manual 4-unit gearbox. The 1.3 and 1.5 liter engines are a little bit lazy, but what you expect from around 60 horsepower. But anyway, they're as cool as any other Ford Capri. The car started to move from 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engine and probably the GT versions with 88-93 horsepower. But this doesn't mean the EU-trim 1600 like the car in front of us is not attractive. 70-75 horsepower and 4-speed manual gearbox from 1600cc engine and under 1 ton weight was very good actually for 1960s. The 1600 EU trim wasn't fast Ford. The maximum speed was just under 160 km per hour or 99 miles per hour. And acceleration from 0 to 62 miles per hour or 100 km per hour, 15.3 seconds. Exactly in the mid-1972, Mark I Ford Capri was slightly updated. Little changes on the body shape and engines updates as well. But in 1974, the main update was introduced, the Mark II Capri, where this was the same shape and line, but no boot lid anymore, so was a hatchback, just because it was very popular back on the day. Different lights, no vents on the rear wings anymore, was a bit more modern and clean design. In 1978 was released the Mark III Capri, again the same lines but a bit updated and new engines. But Mark I was the original, the famous Capri which makes the Ford even more successful brand. Its favorite car for many Ford guys, simply because it's very cool, sporty design, reliable, cheap. Some people saying that they like more the Mark I and Mark III Capri because Mark III has 4 round headlights and looks more aggressive. So Mark II is a bit in a shadow of Mark I and Mark III. Also the people liked because it's a rear-wheel drive car. It's just fun to drive, even with small engines. They're only coupe versions, so no convertibles like the big brother Mustang. Very classical configuration, front longitudinally mounted engine, followed by gearbox, driveshaft, and rear-wheel drive only with the live axle. The interior is nicely made as well, very sporty look. Ford has the experience because it's one of the most successful car on any tracks, from rally to Formula 1. With 1.9 million cars being made, of course today are many left, but this doesn't mean the car is cheap today. They are not. And nice examples are well over 10,000 pounds or euro. Even the small engined Capris. We are not talking about the powerful RS versions or any V6 engine cars. Many people describe the car like very easy to drive, very nimble, but the driver need to be very careful because it's very light, especially on the back, and always need to have good set of tires. The performance is not always the important side, but the fun. And with this car, you really have a fun. So guys, just have a look, the design of the car is just beautifully made with long bonnet, with these air vents up front of the rear wheels, and this line starts from the front wing and going all the way back to the rear wing. The car is just amazing. The roof line is one of the beautiful part of the car, and the rear glass as well. But aside, when you look the car from the side, the car is just amazing. The wheels are nice, absolutely fantastic car. From any angle you look the car looks just amazing. So guys, I hope you liked the video about Ford Capri, especially this early version Mark I Ford Capri. If you like, please subscribe my channel, and see you next time guys. Bye!